Thank you for clicking on this video and giving me a shout out. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to make this short, sweet, and straight to the point. This is all about the decline of attention spans. If we take a look at various ages we've been throughout history when it comes to like the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, the Stone Age. So in the 1700s we saw a huge industrial revolution, and as we went forward we eventually worked our way into the Age of Information, which is argued that started around the 1970s or so. And from the Age of Information, I think we entered something I like to call the Age of Disinformation around the year 2000. Like somewhere right around when 9/11 happened, we had this huge insurgence of national security blowing up all over the place. And I don't know who else noticed this, but we had this dramatic change in how news was reported as well around the same time. If you remember 9/11, you probably remember it because they burned it into our brains by playing the images over and over and over again on television. I think there was plenty of reasons why they did that, but I'm not going to get into it here in this video. I advise that you look up 9/11 on your own if you're curious about that. There's plenty of crazy conspiracies out there. I'm not going to get into conspiracies about it or anything like that, but things don't quite add up if you look at the 9/11 Commission report. It just doesn't touch on all the issues and leaves a lot of things out that needed to be addressed. For instance, Building 7. They didn't really touch on that very much, did they? Anyways, this is not supposed to be about 9/11. It's supposed to be about short attention spans. Focus, FLEC, focus. So the Age of Disinformation plays a huge role in perpetuating BS, false information, misinformation, disinformation, and so on. So the Age of Information was in the 1970s, they say, and around that same time we started seeing more computers coming up inside of people's homes, the birth of the internet, and also Atari game consoles were a thing all of a sudden. So you didn't have to go to an arcade and play games, you can plug it right in your TV and start playing Pitfall and other exciting games like that. Moving forward, we went to the 80s in the Nintendo generation. All of a sudden we saw a lot more computers inside of homes, and as well as Nintendo game consoles all over the place. And this changed a lot of culture here in the United States and globally. Anywhere where game consoles became a huge thing in industrialized nations, we found a lot more people staying inside staring at television screens playing video games, which is arguably good and bad depending on how you want to look at it. But let's move forward. As the 80s moved forward from Nintendo, we saw the Super Nintendo, we saw Sega, then eventually moved into what I call the PlayStation generation in the 90s. You can see that I'm identifying various generations as gaming consoles. I know they're not generations, it's more like a decade for the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I'm doing this because gaming consoles kind of represent the advancements of technology as well as the shortening of our attention spans as we go forward. I hope that makes sense. And then moving into the 2000s, I like to call it the Adult Swim generation. If you don't know what Adult Swim is this late night program that happened on Cartoon Network throughout the early 2000s. I think they still do it too. I love Adult Swim very much. There's a number of different awesome anime cartoons, including Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and also some very, very strange cartoons like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and The Brack Show and Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which I think are all really cool and all that, but they also really catered to the shortening of attention spans and even helped facilitate even shorter attention spans, arguably. Moving forward, YouTube came out I think in the late 2005. The first video was a guy going to the zoo. I can't remember the fellow's name, but he was one of the creators of YouTube, or at least was very much involved with the creators of YouTube. And it exploded after that. Plenty of people started uploading videos, and we had all sorts of content being published by people. It wasn't necessarily the birth of a time where people can publish themselves on a platform and get noticed on a wide mass scale, because YouTube wasn't that big at the time. We had other things like MySpace, we had GeoCities, we had the earlier communal-based websites earlier back in that time period of the 90s, and even the 80s. I'm sure there was IRC networks and things like that, but the 90s really gave birth to that, in the early O's. But YouTube really changed a lot, I feel, when people started making video content, and that resulted in people just being able to have more options of things they can look at. The internet is a big, big place, and it's very easy to get lost in it, and it's even easier just to not watch something. So if you made it this far, thanks very much for giving me your time and lending me your ear. I really appreciate it. This is something to really think about, the shortening of our attention spans. I'm not going to say it's like we're being conditioned on a mass scale, but it's something happening on a mass scale, whether there's some sort of puppeteer doing it or not. It's something to pay attention to. And in March of 2006, we had the birth of Twitter, a small amount of text, hashtag things, push it out in the world and people can read what you have to say on Twitter. Very short, very direct, straight to the point, short attention spans. In 2012, we had the birth of something called Tinder, an app that allows you to swipe left or right if someone's not exciting enough for you. You just take a look at someone, it's very, very superficial, and you maybe read their profile before you even swipe, but you probably just look at them first, just like you would if you went to a bar or something like that. You look around and you see someone that looks interesting to you or you find attractive, and then you can find a way to maybe talk to them somehow or approach them in some way. But with Tinder, you don't even have to do that. You can just look at your app, swipe left or right, and decide whether or not you actually like them, just like visually, and then you can start talking to them if they like the way you look also. So this was just another way of just shortening your attention spans, because as we all know, people like each other. And then moving forward beyond that, in 2016 we saw the birth of TikTok, which TikTok, I like to compare it to the combination of Twitter and Tinder mixed together with a little bit of a video element to it as well. Well, a lot of video element mixed to it as well. It's all just videos and snippets. So it's like Twitter and Tinder had an affair and was raised by YouTube. I don't even know how to make sense of that, but TikTok is crazy. I've been posting on TikTok a little bit just to get people to come to my channel over here, and also because I'm trying to understand TikTok more. I do think it's pretty interesting. There are some very, very interesting posters on there that give some amazing tips and tricks and valuable information in just 60 seconds really, really quick. There is an art to conveying information very, very quick and very efficiently, and there's people out there that are hungry for information very quick, straight to the point, without any BS getting in the way. I can respect that to a certain degree. On the other hand though, it does facilitate quite a decline in attention spans. We're definitely seeing attention spans shrinking more and more and more over the years as people have less and less time to pay attention to what's going on around them. And I feel along with the decline of attention spans, we're also going to see a decline in critical thinking. That's something that worries me quite a bit. We rely more and more on technology and computers to do thought processes for us and to analyze information for us, and not enough time to think things through critically on our own and go through logical steps in addressing information and processing information. It's a very exciting time to be alive. We're on the verge of saving everything on the planet and killing us all. Science, religion, technology, and politics are all pulling us in these very different directions depending on the issue. It's just very, very confusing time to be alive. If you're bored, you are clearly not paying attention. And that just about wraps up tonight's video. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to do more videos in the future about social media and how it affects humanity's consciousness overall. I think it's a very fascinating concept, and I think it's something that's definitely worth exploring if you haven't thought about it very much. And I'm thinking more and more about it as time goes on. What a crazy time to be alive. We can self-publish. No other time in history within the past 10-15 years have we had this ability to put ourselves out there for the whole world to see. Anyone who wants to find me can find me here on the internet. Here I am, come watch my videos. If you're new to my channel, please know I post every single day of the year of 2021. I've done a lot of work on my playlist section, so I've organized all my content into various different playlists to make it easier for you to find videos that might pique your interest. And that's a wrap, folks. I really appreciate you watching this video to the very end. You have no idea. With short attention spans, I applaud you. You made it all the way through. And I'll end this video the way I've been ending all my videos lately with these words. I'll eventually change it up, but for right now, I like the way I'm doing this. Remember to never give up. Do your best. Stay true to you and who you are, and be amazing. Whatever that means to you, however you can, be amazing. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night. Bye.